I have a charge of disorderly conduct. How does Mr. DeRose wish to proceed?
Judge, if we can hear the facts, I do want to make an argument as to probable.
All right, well, look, all right, go ahead, if you would, please, Detective.
Your Honor, as Your Honor may be aware, last night there was what originally started as a peaceful protest, started turning unruly at around 9 o'clock, and the cases you'll have before yourself this morning will range from 9 p.m. till around 2 a.m., from about 500 people to about 150 people when the protests finished. This incident occurred at around 11 o'clock. We were dispersing what had then become a violent crowd. There were bottles being thrown at officers, fireworks being thrown at officers. During the course of the evening, 4 officers were injured, 1 sustained a concussion. At that point, we had formed a skirmish line. We were beginning to push subjects back. This defendant, along with several others, were taken into custody as part of the evening. This defendant was taken into the disorderly conduct when he was asked to remove himself from the area. He was ordered to leave. This defendant shook his head and said no. He was waiting for someone. He was asked numerous times to get out of the area. He refused. He was taken into custody of disorderly conduct.
All right, and counsel, what's your argument?
Judge, I reviewed the disorderly conduct statute. I don't believe that any of the conduct outlined by the inspector fits under any of the subsections of the disorderly conduct statute. The fact says, was cited to this court, that Mr. DeLoge's, according to the police report, which I've read, was sitting inside his car when the police, in a lot, not even on the road obstructing traffic, he was in a lot. When the police asked him to leave, he said, no, I'm waiting for somebody. He had every right to be there. The owner of the property did not ask him to leave. He wasn't disrespectful to the police according to the facts that have been presented to this court. He simply said, and the quote is, I'm waiting for someone. He shook his head no and said, I'm waiting for someone. There is no subsection that these facts could or should be couched under, and so therefore, Judge, I don't think that these facts arise to the level of probable cause, and I don't think Mr. DeLoge should be arraigned on this charge.
All right, anything else, Detective?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I agree. No problem, cause case dismissed.
Thank you, Judge.
You have a charge of obstruction, disorderly, and resisting.
Is the name again, Your Honor?
Oh, I'm sorry, Detective Isaiah Lee.
I'm going to waive a reading, not the.
Pre-trial.
12-10.
We'll hear the allegations.
Judge, I'd waive the reading, not guilty.
Not guilty plea. Pre-trial.
12-10.
How about that?
No objection.
We have a charge of disorderly conduct. You want to hear the allegations, Mr. Peters?
I'll waive the reading, Judge.
Not guilty plea. Pre-trial.
12-10.
Any objection to PR?
No objection.
1,000 PR, sir, you refer to the public defender. Right up here. Charge of disorderly conduct, misdemeanor, okay? You have the right to plead not guilty, be released, and talk to an attorney.
Okay.
Is she waiving the reading as well as you want
Not guilty.
not guilty? How about a pretrial detective?
12-10.
In bed.
No objection.
1,000 PR. Can I refer you to the public defender, Ms. Anderson?
Yes, please.
Swear the facts, detective. You were also charged with disorderly conduct. Did she waive the reading, Ms. Dugan?
I would waive the reading.
Not guilty plea. 12-10. Any objection to PR?
Your Honor, Miss Daniels has 30 failure to appears in 17 cases. We would ask for 1,000 restorative based on the failure to appear.
Can you make some bail, ma'am? You got a...
Is that $100?
Yeah.
I got it right now.
All right, we'll take it.
Thank you.
1,000 with surety.
12-10, no.
Yep. refer
And
to the
December
police.
10th is my next appearance
Yes, ma'am.
here in this courtroom.
Not this courtroom, be down the hall.
Thank you very much, Your
All
Honor.
right, all right. You have 1 charge of disorderly conduct, a 2nd resisting arrest. Detective swear the
I
fact.
do, Your Honor.
Stugas says she waived the reading. Oh, you want to hear the allegations, young lady? If you would, please, detective.
Apparently. This defendant was arrested just past midnight when there was approximately 150 people gathered in the intersection of Dean and Washington. This defendant was one of 20 subjects that were observed being unruly, exciting the crowd, throwing rocks and water bottles towards the officers. This defendant, when taken into custody, we had to use force to effectuate the arrest. He has been taken to the ground.
You want a chance to talk to an attorney? Plead not guilty?
No?
Okay.
No objection.
All right. You want to do 2 back and forth, December 10th, okay? For a pre-trial. That's just to talk about whether, how you're going to proceed with your case. In the meantime, can I refer you to the public defender? No?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And you're released on your promise to keep the peace and be of good behavior, okay, ma'am? What's your name?
Samantha Chase.
Judge, if we could waive the reading, not guilty, please.
Pre-trial.
12-10.
Bail.
No objection on Ms. Chase.
1,000 PR, right, counsel?
Yes, Judge, thank you.
Charge of disorderly conduct, also resisting arrest. Does she waive the reading, Ms. Dugan?
She does.
Not guilty, please enter. 12-10. Any objection to PR?
No objection.
Can I refer you to the public defender, ma'am? An assault on Providence police with a dangerous weapon. 1 count, 2 counts. Possession of fireworks. Another, I think it's a felony assault, 1152, but the verbiage talks about fireworks. Disorderly conduct and another disorderly conduct. Detective, can I ask you to come in and sign the second complaint? There's a bail violation notice. Thank you. Swear the facts?
Your Honor.
Could I hear the allegations?
Certainly, Your Honor. As part of the protest yesterday, at around 9:30, we were mobilizing a field force unit to disperse the rowdy crowd. This defendant was observed throwing fireworks, flaming material, which exploded within feet of several members of our department. The incident was captured on video. This defendant was charged with the felony assault, being in possession of the illegal fireworks and disorderly conduct. He is a bail violator, Your Honor. I have served him with a 46G.
All right, on the new case, what are you seeking for bail?
That's for $5,000 with surety.
Okay. 5,000 with surety. Sir, can I refer you to the public defender?
Yes.
Okay, I have a pre-arraignment conference in Superior Court, January 27th, 2001. Your bail in that case is 5,000 with surety. I'm gonna hold him on the bail violation.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you have a charge of disorderly conduct. Detective, swear the facts.
Your Honor.
Can I hear the allegations?
So this incident occurred just before 2 a.m. At that time, the protest had arrived at the Providence police headquarters. There were about 100 people left. Still, the report writes rocks and beer bottles were being thrown at officers. This defendant, along with another individual who you'll meet in a little bit, Mr. O'Brien, were observed in that group throwing rocks and other projectiles towards the officer who was charged with the disorderly conduct.
All right, sir, you're presumed innocent charge. You want to plead not guilty?
Not guilty.
Pre-trial 12-10.
Correct.
Bail.
No objection.
All right, sir, you're released on your promise to keep the peace, be of good behavior, okay? Can I refer you to the public defender?
Yes, sir.
You'll refer to the PD. You're charged with disorderly conduct. Detective, swear the facts.
Your Honor.
Can I hear the allegations?
Certainly, Your Honor, this incident occurred just past midnight when the protests were in the area of Dean and Washington Street. There was a large crowd inside a disturbance. The officer went to disperse that group of people. Approximately 20 people refused to leave. This defendant was one of them. He was increasingly belligerent according to the report, refusing to leave and disregarding the multiple commands to leave the area. He was charged with disorderly conduct.
All right, how do you wish to plead?
Judge, he does wish to hear an offer from the inspector.
All right, does he have Superior Court,
No
no?
involvement.
All right.
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Massey, you have every right, don't worry.
Last time I had Superior Court, you took care of that for me, Mr. Houlihan.
All right. What were you offering him?
It'd be a probationary period. This defendant has 28 cases with 20 failure to appear. It's a pretty lengthy record that goes back to the late
When was
90s.
the last time he had a disposition?
August of this year.
All right. 6 months probation, I'll waive court closure.
Yes, sir.
Fair, is that fair
Yes,
enough?
that's
All
fair.
right, so you're pleading no low and you're waiving your right to a trial, Mr. Massey, you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to a trial before a judge sitting with a jury, or a judge sitting without. You're waiving your right to require the prosecution prove each and every element of the charge against you by proof and evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. You're waiving your right to the presumption of innocence, your privilege against self-incrimination, your right to confront and cross-examine all witnesses against you, present evidence and witnesses on your own behalf, or even testify. You're saying, I don't want any of those rights, I'll take the 6 months. You're also waiving your right to an attorney. You have an absolute constitutional right to an attorney. An attorney can help you gather all the information in the case, evaluate it, decide how you wanna proceed, have a trial. But again, the short conversation you had with the representative from Public Defender's Office, that's not really exercising your right. So you're waiving it, you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You have any questions?
No, sir.
So you're charged with disorderly conduct, detective, you swear the facts.
I do, Your Honor.
Did I hear the app?
Wait the reading, he's
Alright.
not guilty.
Not guilty plea?
Judge, actually, he would, Mr.
All right, you have every right to hear it.
Certainly. The defendant was, along with Mr. Massey, part of a group of people inside a parking lot that the officers were trying to disperse. There were about 150 people in the area. Most of them did disperse and follow the commands of the officer. The allegation is that this defendant did not. He became belligerent, refusing to leave, ignoring multiple commands to disperse the area. He was charged with disorderly conduct.
All right, so Mr. Annalundi, you're presumed innocent.
Not guilty, Your
There you
Honor.
go. All right,
Thank you very much.
all right, 12:10.
Thank you.
Any objection to PR?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Annalundi, you're released on your promise to keep the peace and be a good behavior. Can I
Yes,
refer
sir.
you to the Public Defender's Office?
Yep,
All right, you're all set. Sign with the clerk.
thank you very much.
3 misdemeanor charges, assault, disorderly and resisting arrest. Swear the facts, detective.
I do, Your Honor.
Does, Mr. Munoz wish to hear the allegation?
He does.
All right, if you would, please, detective.
Certainly. At around 10 p.m., we were addressing, at that point, the officer writes there was around 500 people who had gathered. There was, at that time, objects being thrown at the officers, glass bottles and fireworks. At that point, the officer identified this defendant. He was yelling at the officers things I will not repeat in open court. He refused to follow officers' commands. The officer attempted to take him into custody for the disorderly conduct when this defendant assaulted one of the officers by striking him with a skateboard, according to the report, and attempted to flee. The officer had to use force in effectuating the arrest.
All right, no plea enters, not guilty, counsel?
Yes, not guilty.
Not guilty. How about a pretrial 12:10?
12:10.
And, bail,
No objection.
1,000 PR. Sir, can I refer you to the Public Defender?
Yes, please.
Swear the facts.
I do, Your Honor.
I have a charge of disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. Mr. Murphy, you want to hear the allegations? All right, if you would, please, detective.
Certainly. This incident occurred around 9 p.m. When there were 500 or so individuals in the Westminster Street area. The officer had formed a line to disperse the rowdy crowd. This defendant was told numerous times to disperse from the area. He stood out to the officer, the officer right because of his height and the bright orange hoodie he was wearing. He continued to agitate both the officers but also people in the crowd yelling obscenities, ignoring the officer's command. Eventually the officer had enough and took him into custody for disorderly conduct. The officer had to use force to effectuate the arrest as the defendant refused to comply.
All right, Mr. Murphy, you want to plead not guilty today?
Yes, sir.
Your pretrial will be 12:10. And any objection to PR?
No objection.
1,000 PR. And I refer you to the Public Defender? None. All right, detective, swear the
I
facts.
do, Your Honor.
Can we hear the allegations?
This incident occurred just before 2 a.m. when the disturbance had moved to the Providence Police Headquarters on Washington Street. At that time, there was about 100 people left. They were throwing rocks and bottles, shooting fireworks in the officer's direction. The allegations that this defendant, along with Mr. Lyman, who you just arraigned, were observed as being individuals who were being disorderly by throwing rocks and other projectiles towards the police line. He was detained and charged for disorderly conduct.
All right. You wish to?
Not guilty.
Not guilty, 12:10.
Thank
Any
you.
objection to PR?
No objection.
1,000 PR.